Ladies and gentlemen, with her talk entitled The Power of Your Story, please welcome to the stage Deborah Henley.
Well, many people believe that being professional means presenting a flawless veneer. It means presenting a perfect exterior. It means not revealing anything about your true self, when in fact, the opposite is true. Over the last 6 years, I've run workshops and training courses for global blue chips all over the world, working with leaders to develop their influence and presence. And I found that those who are most successful are those who share their own stories, who share something about themselves. And so that's why my message today is that sharing your stories is not just a nice to have. It's not just a nice, cosy fireside chat thing, although it is nice. Sharing your story is a core leadership capability, especially if you hold meetings, you do pitches, you give presentations. Because sharing your story will provide you with new opportunities, it'll enhance your relationships, and it'll make your business run much more successfully. So today I'm going to share with you some top tips as to how to do that. But first, a little secret that I'm going to admit to. I don't know about you, but sometimes, very rarely, occasionally, I'm sitting on my sofa at home and I find myself getting drawn into one of those reality shows. Hardly ever. But just occasionally I'm sitting there and I find, I really start caring about somebody not being voted off Great British Bake Off. Or I really start caring that Freddie gets his chance to win in The Voice, or the judges like him, even before I've heard him sing. Or on first dates. Anyone first dates? Great, isn't it? And, you just really want Melanie and Tom to hit it off because they've had such a bad time in love. Why do we get so sucked in? Why do we start caring about an absolute stranger? It's because the TV executives aren't fools. They know we love a backstory and it hooks us in. So what does this mean to you as leaders? This is what I'm going to share with you today. What sharing your story means for you, what happens if you don't, and the difference it makes for you when you do. But first, I'm going to share with you my story. I grew up in the 70s and 80s in Hong Kong. This here is where my dad worked. Does anyone know what that is? Hong Kong Bank. It's a Norman Foster designed building. He worked on the 21st floor, and it was just the most amazing building when it was built because everything, all the infrastructure was on the outside. I remember as a small child going there to visit him for the first time, and I stood in this lift. It was like a space rocket, all made of glass, pressing the 21st floor, and up we went. And then the doors opened, and the carpet, rather like this one, was grey. The room was filled with metal. The three receptionists looked up in unison and smiled as one. And then people glided around in their smart, immaculate suits. And I thought they looked like robots. I thought, where's the colour? Where's the laughter? Where's the fun? Where's the life? Where's the joy? Where's the spirit? Where's the sparkle? I am never going to work in a place like this. 25 years later, I was working in this Norman Foster designed building in Moore London Place in financial services. I'd been recruited into one of the big four accountancy firms to head up client relationship development. I had, to be fair, worked in psychology before then, and I'd worked doing expressive arts therapies. So when I went in there, I thought I would bring some of that energy and that spirit. But instead, I made my commute, I wore my suit, and I started to try and create that flawless veneer that I could hide behind. and my confidence began to suffer. I didn't bring my opinions, I didn't bring my good ideas, I didn't bring the richness of the experience that I'd had, I didn't bring what I really had to offer, which would have been valuable. And as my confidence declined, I wondered what was going to happen. And then I noticed something. The partners that really had the most powerful effect on their clients in developing market insights, in winning at pitches, in having more and more opportunities in the marketplace, were those who shared something of themselves. They were people who were true to themselves and often shared something of their story. And so I resolved from then on I was going to do the same. I was going to be true to myself, and I was going to facilitate and enable others to do the same, because it's the most powerful way to be in business. So, what does it mean for you as a leader to tell your story? Well, if you want to change the way people think, feel, and do things, use your story, because stories do three things that facts alone do not. Stories create an emotional connection. You hear somebody's story and you kind of go, well, I'm like them. I can relate to them. I understand where they're coming from. And you want to back them like you want to back those strangers on a reality TV show. You feel loyal to them. You want them to succeed. You want to be part of their story. The second thing it does is it creates that visceral response. We've all seen a film or watched something that has moved us to tears, or made us laugh, made us feel disgusted or horrified. I remember sitting on a long plane journey next to my husband, watching Lion. Has anyone seen that, about the boy that gets lost on the train? Oh my goodness. I wept for 2.5 hours, and the cabin crew were kind of coming to me with tissues and kind of doing a trick. They didn't know what to do with me. I was a mess. And next to me, my husband was laughing and chortling away with his headphones on because he was watching Veep, Armando Iannucci's programme. And the two of us must have looked quite a sight. But this is the power of stories. And finally, they move people to action. They move people to action because we don't just buy in with our minds, we buy in with our hearts as well. I watched Exodus about the refugees, and it moved me to look at refugees in my own area and think about what I could do. All charities know this. You hear a story and you want to be moved to action. So what happens for you as a leader if you don't share your story? Well, I was talking to this about this to Anita, who worked in local government for 6 years. She said, we had a CEO like that. She never shared a thing about herself. It was disconcerting. It was just odd. We didn't trust her. We didn't believe her. We weren't convinced by her. We said to her, share something, like the fact that you won that medal at the weekend. Nah, people aren't interested in that. And she said, it wasn't until my last day, when we had a coffee together, that I discovered that actually the CEO was a real human being. So that, to my mind, was a leadership failing. Finally, the difference when you do share your story. Well, the difference is that when you share your story, you get a new insight about who you were. You understand your narrative slightly differently. You can get insights about what happened that change the way you think about your past, but also change what you apply to your future. They can guide and direct you in a new way. So you sort of evolve, you get a new understanding of yourself. So my message to you is this. If you want them to care, then you have to dare to bear. And, not quite yet. When you share your story, you will transform the lives of people. But the person who changes most when you do is you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Deborah.
Oh, my final slide. There we go.
There you go. Should we keep our clicker or does it go back to the